Welcome back to the beautiful and chaotic world of modern rocketry for a fresh, piping hot update that brings those complicated and mixed feelings we know all too well. The star of the show, B19, has officially rolled out for more testing, which leads to the predictable but frustrating delay for Flight 12 that feels like a food delivery estimate constantly ticking up. Meanwhile, the schedule for Firefly Alpha Block 2 is out, and NASA Administrator Isaacman is out here doing the Lord's work by trying to restore Pluto's status as a full-fledged planet. Grab your overpriced coffee and let's dive into all these updates on today's episode of Great SpaceX. As many of you probably remember from my previous reports, Flight 12 was originally eyeing a launch date of May 12th. SpaceX even had a nice little buffer of 6 days from the 13th to the 18th set aside as contingency dates just in case the universe decided to be difficult. And now the news we were dreading has arrived. That May 12th launch date is officially no longer accurate. A delay has been revealed through a familiar type of announcement called a local notice to mariners, which is basically the unsolicited calendar invite of the high seas. The latest update has completely removed May 12th, 13th, and the 14th from the active window, which is definitely a bit of a bummer for those of us who had our calendars marked. May 15th is now showing up as the first day in the new launch window, which naturally makes it our new primary launch date. To give them some breathing room, the window has been pushed all the way back to May 21st to serve as the new contingency period. A 3-day delay isn't the end of the world in the grand scheme of things, but it is certainly going to be a nerve-wracking period for anyone who has been waiting for this flight. Fortunately, the window is still firmly set within the month of May, so we don't have to wait until the heat of summer to see this thing fly. With this update, I have to be humble and admit that my previous prediction of a May 14th launch was totally wrong. So, I'm going to pivot and try again by choosing May 16th as my new gut feeling date, but I want to see your best guesses in the comments down below. If we look back, this delay was actually quite predictable for anyone paying close attention to the movements at the launch site. In our previous episode, I pointed out several technical factors that could cause a shift in the timeline, and one of those factors has officially come true. SpaceX has decided that they need to test the massive B19 booster one more time before they feel comfortable letting it rip. To get everything ready for this, a road closure schedule for transportation was announced for the morning of May 6th, Central Standard Time. This closure covered the vital route from the production site to the pad, which is always a signal that something big is on the move. And no, it's not me after buffet night. Along with that, the massive booster transport stand was spotted moving into Mega Bay 1 on the afternoon of May 5th to confirm that a move was imminent. Right on schedule, B19 left the comfort of the Mega Bay for Pad 2 for the third time in just 2 short months. This is a pretty busy travel schedule for a rocket, considering the previous rollout for testing the 10 engines took place on the 8th of March. Shortly after the rollout, another road closure schedule emerged, and this one was much longer, suggesting a major test was on the horizon. According to the new schedule, the main test is slated for the afternoon and evening of May 6th, running from 5 in the evening all the way to 11:59, which is practically midnight Central Time. If this 7-hour window is fully utilized, we could be in for a treat as we see the test brightly illuminated against the dark Texas sky. Just in case they need more time, there are 2 other test windows, a 14-hour slot on the 7th of May and a 12-hour window on the 8th. The confirmation of this testing schedule explains exactly why the launch date had to be postponed by a few days. This aggressive timeline shows SpaceX's ambition to accelerate their progress, as they are aiming to test B19 almost immediately after it arrives at the pad. It makes total sense that they want to optimize their time because, after this test, B19 will likely need to head back to the Mega Bay for final checks and assembly. Of course, there's always a possibility that B19 stays put and gets checked out directly at the pad to save a bit of transit time. Whatever the team decides to do, everything has to be perfectly completed before the new launch window opens up on the 15th. The next test is almost certainly going to be a full 33 engine static fire, which is the kind of raw power that reminds us why we love this industry. We might see some new features or upgrades appear during this window, both on the vehicle itself and the ground equipment. On the vehicle side, it's highly likely that some sensors have been replaced to give the team cleaner data during the burn. SpaceX might have even swapped out a few of the Raptor engines to avoid the nagging problems that cropped up during the previous 10-engine and 33-engine tests. During the transit, I noticed that the aft section of B19 seems to have received a bit of a glow-up with a very neat and reliable-looking paint job. While a paint job might seem like a small detail, in the world of high-speed aerospace, every little bit of surface consistency matters for reliability. The launch pad itself hasn't been ignored either, as the flame trench sensors had some significant growing pains during the last 33-engine test. Additionally, we saw some debris get ejected during a recent water deluge test that unfortunately damaged the gas generator. Those issues have likely been addressed with more reliable upgrades and replacements that can handle the sheer violence of a Starship launch. In recent days, we have seen continuous testing on the pad involving the booster QD and the ship QD, as well as the deluge system. SpaceX has basically been giving us numerous trailers for the power of Starship V3, and we are getting closer and closer to the official premiere. It's obviously a little frustrating to see delays as we enter the second half of the second quarter of 2026. However, it also represents the cautious and methodical approach that SpaceX is taking as they enter a brand new era with a new version of the ship. All of this hard work is geared towards ultimate success, helping to unlock the next phase of the mission to conquer some very important goals. So, please try to be patient as we follow every tiny move and test on this long road to the Flight 12 launch. Also, I hope you will support the channel by hitting that subscribe button if you haven't joined our little community yet. I've noticed that a huge chunk of you watching these updates haven't actually hit that subscribe button. Subscribing is completely free and it only takes one click, but it helps ensure you are among the first to get these aerospace updates. Plus, you get to be part of a space exploration community that is way more exciting than whatever your neighbors are talking about on the Nextdoor app. Anyways, let's shift gears and move on to a notable update regarding another project we've been watching, the Firefly Alpha. Out of 7 total launches, they've seen 2 complete failures and 2 partial failures, leaving them with only 3 successful missions to brag about. After their mission in mid-March, the team at Firefly decided it was time to move on to a new and improved version of the rocket called Alpha Block 2. The launch schedule for the first Block 2 mission is finally starting to take shape, and it looks like it's going to be a summer blockbuster. Ooh, man. Remember that store? The company is currently planning to launch the new bird late this summer, which is a big milestone for their survival. This revelation comes directly from Firefly's CEO, Jason Kim, who shared the news during an earnings call about the company's first quarter financial results. He said, "We are now focused on delivering our first Block 2 vehicle, which will debut on Flight 8. That's targeted to launch late this summer." The Block 2 version was originally announced by the company back in January as a way to fix the bugs of the previous model. This version features extended first and second stages along with a much-needed upgrade to the avionics, the battery, and the thermal protection systems. The main goal here is to vastly improve reliability so that they can stop having those awkward partial failure conversations with their investors. The first flight of Block 2 will officially be the 8th flight of the Alpha series, which is why the team is calling it Flight 8. Kind of cut and dry there. Jason Kim hasn't officially announced who the customer is for this flight yet, and we haven't seen any massive new contracts signed recently. Despite the lack of public contracts, the CEO seems to be feeling incredibly optimistic about the future of the company, saying, "There was a lot of interest with existing customers as well as new customers, and it's just a matter of timing." He followed that up with another confident statement saying, "Demand is not the problem with Alpha. There's so much demand for national security as well as commercial and civil matters." That confidence probably stems from the fact that Alpha is perfectly suited for national security missions that require a specific payload capacity. It also has the ability to support suborbital hypersonic tests, which is a very hot topic in the defense world right now. The expansion of these national security programs is really what is driving Firefly toward this newer, more capable version of their rocket. These investments are likely going to lead to the acquisition of more launch sites, including some very interesting offshore platforms. Firefly is currently planning to collaborate with Lockheed Martin and Seagate to figure out how to launch vehicles from the middle of the ocean. Following the debut of Block 2 this summer, the company is hoping to squeeze in 2 more launches before the end of the year. If everything goes according to plan, Firefly could actually make a significant contribution to the industry this year and create some healthy competition. Now, let's talk about an update that's going to hit anyone who grew up in the 90s right in the feels. The status of Pluto. For those of us who grew up with 9 planets on our posters, Pluto's 2006 demotion felt like the IAU basically voted our favorite underdog off the island. Pluto is especially beloved here since American Clyde Tombaugh discovered it in 1930, so you will be thrilled that Jared Isaacman is fighting for its honor. During an April 28th Senate hearing, Isaacman was questioned by Senator Jerry Moran, a fellow native of Tombaugh, and gave a response that made every millennial cheer.
Senator, I am very much in the camp of make Pluto a planet again. And I would say we are doing some papers right now on, I think, a position that we would love to escalate through the scientific community to revisit this discussion and ensure that Clyde Tombaugh gets the credit he received once and rightfully deserves to receive again.
While the IAU has the final say, the NASA administrator going on the record puts pressure on the scientific community to reevaluate the clear its orbit criteria. The IAU argues a planet must orbit the sun, be spherical, and clear its orbit, but critics argue Pluto was singled out for its messy room in the Kuiper Belt, while Earth and Jupiter get a pass despite sharing their space with asteroids. Regardless of the political drama, the 2015 New Horizons mission revealed a stunning world of towering mountains and nitrogen glaciers, proving it is far from a boring rock. Whether it's a planet or a dwarf planet, Pluto is a fascinating place worth exploring. But let me know where you stand in the comment section down below. That officially brings us to the end of today's episode of Great SpaceX. Thank you so much for tuning in and letting me geek out about rockets and space politics with you. So, as always, this has been Kevin, your resident 90s kid space enthusiast. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars and keep looking up.